Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space and another STAMPtember exclusive limited edition video. Throughout the month of September, Simon Says Stamp has STAMPtember, biggest stamping party of the year. They have partnered with a bunch of super fabulous brands to produce limited edition exclusive sets that are one and done. When they sell out, they're not restocked. However, the brands have amazing product lines, and I will have a link. This video is with the Picket Studios collaboration. I have not only a soft spot for Picket Studios, I am on their design team. So I have many videos using Picket products, and this set is adorable. I did some masking, ink blending, a ton of splatter, 2 types of glitter. I had fun with it. So I will have links to the collaboration set, to the Picket brand, and then of course to everything I used to make my card. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links, end up placing an order, I get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. It is what helps pay the bills and keep the channel going. You just need to expand the description box to see all of the info, links, etc. And yeah, let's get into making this card. So the Picket Studios collaboration set is called Dancer Delivers Christmas. And it has these cute little images and a rooftop. And I'm going to create a scene. I do not have the coordinating wafer dies, like I've been mentioning with all of my collaboration videos this year. And not necessary. Although a lot of times I'll just fussy cut. However, with this one, I decided instead of fussy cutting to do masking, which I'll be fussy cutting the masks. So same, but different. So first off, I stamped a little character onto some of Simon Says Stamp's masking paper. This is basically, if you've never used anything like this, kind of think of it as almost like a Post-it note, but the whole backing of it has that, kind of temporary stick. And I've used it in many, many videos. In fact, even a recent one, I did some masking. This is old school. This is what we had to do back in the day before wafer dies or coordinating wafer dies were a thing. If you wanted to create dimension and layer things, you did masking. So biggest thing to remember is if you're making a mask, whatever you've stamped is you cut either right on the line or just slightly inside the line. I take my time with it. This is sped up a little in editing. It still didn't take that long. While this image looks difficult, the outline of it actually isn't too bad. I could have skipped trimming out the little like pom-poms on her boot there, but if I'm gonna make a mask, generally I'm just gonna like go all out, do it proper, because I keep them, and I'll show that a little bit later in the video. So I just went around with my scissors and trimmed out this entire image. And the biggest thing to remember with masking is whatever you stamp and mask first is going to appear in the front. So I have a piece of Neenah Desert Storm cardstock that I had die cut with a stitched rectangle wafer die. And then I kind of like just place the stamp set itself, just the roof line stamp, just to figure out where I'm going to be placing things so I can stamp my little character, because she is going to be like in the front. So I inked up the stamp with the same ink. This was Simon Says Stamp's Intense Black ink, which is an alcohol marker friendly ink. So I stamped that onto the panel, and then I peeled the backing off of my mask and then placing it right on top of my stamped image. So now she's masked off, and anything I place after this will appear as if it's behind her. So I'm then going to stamp the like roof image. So I'm going to line that up, and I'm going to stamp it directly onto this background with the same ink. And then I'm also going to create a mask for this. This one's going to be very easy, very, very simple cutting. So I just removed the background out of there and then just placed my masking paper because I didn't feel like trimming another piece. I was like, I can just make this work. So got it in place. So just so as long as I have like the whole, roof line here. And then I'm going to stamp that. And then I just trimmed it out exact same way. And again, very simple, quick and easy to cut that one out. So I'm going to mask that one off as well. So now both parts of this are masked off, so I can do my background, which is just going to be some really quick and easy ink blending. So I used a couple pieces of just Post-it tape just to cover a couple little areas kind of left over. And then I'm using Distress Oxide inks to create my background because I do love me some Oxide inks on Desert Storm cardstock. I don't know. They're just meant to be together. So I used Broken China. I used Broken China first, just blended that on with a blending brush. Then I added Chipped Sapphire. I'm pretty sure I need to re-ink my Chipped Sapphire Oxide ink pad because I use that one a lot. And then a little bit of black soot along the top. And then the most satisfying part is removing the masks. Like, I don't even have words how satisfying it is. Especially these ones because they're very crisp. And then because these masks are still in good condition, I can reuse them for other things. I stick them to the stamp packaging, just like so. Because it's like if I've gone to the effort to make it, I'm not going to toss it. You can keep reusing masks until they become so saturated with ink that they're no longer doing their job. But I can generally get quite a few uses out of any masks that I make, and this is how I keep them. Just with whatever I've stamped them on, stick them to the packaging, and then they're there for the next time I need them. So now that the background is mostly done, there will be splatter involved, but we're going to add that after. I'm going to use my Olo markers to color this image in. I am very much enjoying using my Olos on Desert Storm cardstock. They just work together so nicely. Any alcohol markers will. And I've done it with, I think, all the alcohol markers I've, done. I've used to do this with Copics. I think I've used my Spectrum Noirs on Desert Storm. Any of them will work. They all look great. So I've sped this up in editing. This didn't take that long. It's another one of those ones where the image, especially like little people images, can be intimidating. Once you start coloring, it doesn't take very long. And then, so I started with her skin, I did her hair, and then I skipped to the shingles. I don't know why. It's just where my mind was at. And it looks like a hot mess until everything's blended. But I kept it simple. And even though I've sped this up in editing, I didn't spend a ton of time coloring this because it just didn't take that long. So I just kind of worked my way around. So did the chimney, added like some reds to that one. And then now I'm going to like jump over and finish coloring in my little character. So reds, of course, for her little Santa hat and her dress. I decided to give her her little leggings. We're going to give her some little traditional red and green striped leggings because why not? Why not? With that super simple, just 2-color blend. I'm really liking these 2 shades for just a good, like, kind of Christmas red. And then I pulled in a 3rd shade of red for the sack of toys just to differentiate it a bit from her outfit so that they're not all the exact same color. So did all of that, went in, added some greens, got to give her leggings. Love it. And then the little gifts and whatnot. With those, I'm barely touching the marker to the cardstock because they're just small little areas. So just adding some color, and that's just going to finish them off. So go through all of those. And then for her boots and her belt and the little buttons, I'm going to make them just cool grays, very dark cool grays. So blend those together. And then for all of the white areas, I am just using a white color pencil. Quick, simple, really easy. I try to avoid coloring over any of the stamp lines so that it doesn't like obscure them. And just a light hand. You could add more pressure because obviously the more pressure you add, the more intense a color pencil will be, and it'll be, more white. I don't like adding a lot of pressure. It hurts my hands, so I don't do much with color pencils anymore. And then glitter. I have 2 types of glitter here, both of them in glitter dusters. The one on the left is Simon's Unicorn Glitter. So it's like sparkly. And then the one on the right is Rock Candy Distress Glitter. So they're different. The Simon glitter is more kind of iridescent. It reflects more colors. And then Rock Candy is like just straight up like white glitter. So they do give different looks. Am I kind of splitting hairs in a sense? Kind of. In real life, you can tell. It's really difficult to see in the video. But you can kind of tell in the photos, and you can tell in real life the difference, okay? So, yeah. So I use glossy accents on her outfit, on all of the white areas of her outfit. I'd use glossy accents. As you saw, I applied it. And I use the glitter duster, the glitter duster just kind of poofs light amounts of glitter, so if you don't want a ton, which was great for her outfit. And that's what I used the unicorn glitter on. So it's a little more iridescent, multicolor, sparkly. For the rooftop, the snow on the roof and on the chimney, I'm using the rock candy. And I started with the glitter duster, and then I just took the nozzle off and dumped it on there because I wanted more. It's perfect for snow. It also works great. The rock candy glitter is great. I've talked about this before. It's great for, if you want to make things look like sugar. It's also perfect for that. So they've each got their place. So I had applied it. So I've got the two different types of glitter. The glossy accents is dry. I use my big fan brush just to make sure to brush away any random little excess, because the glossy accents is going to hold that in place. It ain't going anywhere, so it's not going to be falling all over the place. And brushing it really well just removes any excess, so it's not going to, make a mess. And then splatter. So I put this background into my splat box, and the first bit of splatter is my go-to Picket Fence Studios liquid watercolor paper splatter watercolor in liquid white snowflake, which is shimmery, beautiful goodness. And then I'm also using the Picket Fence opaque white paper splatter and putting that onto my palette, and then I'm going to splatter that. And I get heavy-handed with it on purpose, especially more towards the top. I splatter quite heavily. Closer to the image, I still have a bit of splatter, but not, I'm not covering her because I don't want to obscure all the details. But you could technically do the splatter and, leave the masks in place, but then that would look weird because it's like, why would it be in the background and not some, because it's supposed to be snow. So this is why I, did all my coloring, added all the glitter, etc., and then did the splatter last because it would be falling everywhere. I just didn't apply the splatter heavily over her, just a little bit, so that it didn't completely cover up all that coloring I did, if that makes sense. And you get more comfortable with adding splatter the more you do it. I don't think I would have done this when I first started mucking around with splatter, to be able to avoid certain areas, but once you get used to it, you kind of know for the most part where it's going to land. So I did all that splattering. I'd set it aside to dry. And then on the inside, my card base is a top folding A2 note card from the same Desert Storm cardstock. And I stamped the image with Simon's Cappuccino ink and the sentiment with black ink. And then I took a scrap of red cardstock and I'm white heat embossing the little Hello Friend sentiment from that set onto it. So anti-static powder tool, stamped the sentiment with clear embossing ink, coated it with detail white embossing powder, melted it with the heat tool. Remove the excess anti-static powder with my microfiber cloth, and then I'll die cut that with just a circle wafer die, and then figure out where I want to place that on my card. And I'm just going to pop it into place with a little thin foam square. And then I'd also die cut some red cardstock with a scalloped rectangle wafer die. And I'm just going to sandwich a piece of white cardstock in between the main panel and the scallop wafer die. It's just going to give a tiny bit more dimension without adding like any extra bulk, really. And then I'll adhere that to my card base. And then as my final bit of embellishment, I pulled out my white gel pen just to add a little more pops of highlight that are a little more intense than using just the white color pencil. So went around and just added those wherever I thought they would look nice. Again, I don't really follow any rules when it comes to like light sources or anything like that. I just stick them wherever. So just went around all over the little image. And then for like the chimney and the shingles, I'm just using a lighter hand because this is a Jelly Roll 10. This is the widest gel pen, the most intense. But if you move quickly or just use less pressure, you get much thinner, finer lines. And that's how I got these kind of wispy lines on like the shingles and the chimney. So that, because I just didn't want them to be like very obvious, if that makes sense. So added those, added a few more little dots, and that finished off this card. So I'll use my flashlight to kind of show the sparkle. Again, it is hard to show this kind of glitter properly. But yeah, the rock candy on the snow, much more subtle. Very, very snow-like. And then the glitter on her outfit, much more like kind of in your face. It's just fun. So Like I mentioned in the intro, I'll have links to all of the things in the description box below the video. And I'll also have links to my playlists, like my Olo marker playlist, my holiday 2024 card series playlist. Those will be in the end screen for anyone who is interested. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me today, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in supporting me over on Patreon, the link to that is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye.